The year is 2005. Anakin turns to the dark side. YouTube debuts, and we couch jump for Mariah, McDreamy, and a girl with a dragon tattoo. T-minus 20. Rewind 20 years with Joe and Mel.
Week of 12 June 2005.
T-minus 20.
Hey, what do you think this is, a talk show?
T-minus 20.
It's an icebreaker, don't judge me yet. This is bananas. Now you will come home.
20.
My question is, who approved that shit?
Do you see where this is going?
20.
Not really.
20.
This is T-minus 20, your weekly time machine to the most unhinged headlines, chart toppers, and pop culture chaos from exactly 20 years ago. We're talking iconic meltdowns, forgotten bangers, moments that made you say, wait a minute, was that really 2005? With your hosts, Joe and Mel. Hello, Mel.
I can't believe that was 20 years ago. I feel like I say that every week, actually. We are rewinding to the 12th to the 18th of June. We're going to set your ringtone to Crazy Frog, light a candle for the Backstreet Boys because we've got scandals, split-ups, and a surprisingly emotional hostage situation.
Well, that is emotional.
We don't like the word breakup. It sounds really sad. we like to say that it's the end of a chapter in our lives.
It was the end of somebody's chapter in their lives, not the hostage situation, don't worry. But I feel like two of the members of this group may have felt like they were in a hostage situation from time to time. We'll find out who that is later on. A huge pop music group that announced that they were breaking up this time, 20 years ago.
I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent.
Or a smooth criminal, perhaps.
Pajamas in court, doves in the air, and probably one of the biggest media circuses ever.
It was Crazy Town. Crazy Town. We're, of course, talking about Michael Jackson's trial ending this time 20 years ago, but still more controversy to follow.
I'm just sorry I let everybody down. I just don't have this in my heart anymore. I'm just fighting to take care of my bills, basically.
That almost sounds like history repeating itself nowadays, doesn't it? Or the precursor to history repeating itself.
Paying the bills.
That was Iron Mike Tyson saying 20 years ago that he didn't have it in him.
See you later.
A big sporting retirement story that we'll talk about a little bit later on.
Something I want to talk about now.
Okay.
Irrational childhood fears.
Yeah.
Did you have any when you were growing up that, at the time you thought this is going to be a really big problem in my life, probably for the rest of my life, and you put all these preparations in place. You were kept awake at night, stressing about it. You learned how to stop, drop and roll. All these things. You learned, rhymes to keep you safe and never really materialised. Any irrational fears that you had?
I want to say earthquakes, but then there's been earthquakes.
Yeah, that's not
really
irrational. I don't think that's irrational. What about the Bermuda Triangle? I felt like that was going to cause a lot more chaos in my life than what it has.
I just didn't go there.
I just felt like it was going to cause me problems.
The Bermuda
Triangle. I thought about it a lot.
Could be worrisome.
Looked it up. Read it in the World Book and Britannica.
When you go through your Ansett Starship crew pack, just make sure there's some information on the Bermuda Triangle.
Make sure we're not passing through the Bermuda Triangle while we fly to Tasmania. Quicksand was another one.
That's definitely one that I thought was going to be more of a problem than what it's turned out to be.
It was in all the TV shows.
Yes.
Quicksand, and slowly sinking down and your arms out and, is it going to go over your head? How you ever going to get out of it? And someone comes with a lasso at the last minute and yoinks you out.
Yeah,
I felt like quicksand was going to be very bothersome.
I think like falling into water tanks.
Oh, yes.
That was definitely one.
They did drill that into you, yes.
And the razor, and this is more of an urban myth type thing, the razor blades on the water slides.
The water slides. Oh, my gosh. I used to, every time I went to, what was it? What's it called now? I don't even know what it's called. The big one.
Wet and Wild.
No, the one in Canberra.
Big Splash.
Jamison.
Big
Jamison.
Splash, which
Yeah,
is
Big Splash.
derelict now. It's
Doesn't it exist anymore?
Well, it's abandoned. There's the urban explorers have been putting videos of it up on the TikTok.
Well, that's disappointing.
Yes.
But that was every time I went down the waterside for the first go, I'd always go hands first
Right.
because I thought if I felt a sharp pain that was the razor blade, I could quickly pull it out before the rest of me went over it.
Oh, I see.
That was my hack. That was my life hack on how to not go down the razor blades.
Don't
at
try that
Jamison.
at home. Yeah.
The interior car light.
Well, that was almost as life-threatening as the razor blades.
This was more a parent
slides.
thing. Like your
Yeah.
parents had you convinced that if you turned that light on, you'd drive off a cliff. Don't turn the light on. I can't see. We'll all crash and we'll die.
I
felt like it was illegal to turn that on. I thought if I turned it on, the police would come and I'd go to jail.
I perpetuate that to this day.
You do.
I don't like the interior
Yeah, you do
light
get
being
annoyed.
on.
You've continued that tradition.
You just don't know what's going to happen.
What about the drain? Drain in the swimming pool. I was always scared of that.
Like there's a plug in the pool.
The drain. There's a drain in the pool. Or the skimmer box. I was
You
scared
think you
of
get
the skimmer
sucked
box.
into the skimmer box.
There was something on 60 Minutes once where
Somebody got sucked into the
something
skimmer
happened.
box.
I'm not good. It was very graphic, and I just had this irrational fear that,
So you stay well away from the skimmer box. I wasn't ever afraid of that one.
What about food related?
Oh, well, the bubble gum or chewing gum, swallowing chewing gum or bubble
7
gum,
years.
taking 7 years to digest.
That's a long time.
That's
I used to start the timer.
Same amount of time that you suffer if bad luck if you break a mirror.
I used to think, what will I be doing when this chewing gum comes back out in 7 years' time? I might be driving, might have my license.
I mean, maybe if you
might
broke
be out
a
at
mirror.
a nightclub.
If you
Out
broke a
comes
mirror.
that PK or the juicy fruit,
Yes,
Wrigley's.
but if you broke a mirror, like the
Yes.
same day that you broke the mirror,
And you ate
you'd
the
swallow a piece of chewing gum. And then when you pooed out the chewing gum, that would herald the end of your 7 years bad luck. So it'd be really putting a positive spin on the chewing gum.
Or swallowing the fruit seeds. Did your parents tell you that you'd grow whatever? Like if you ate a
they
watermelon, you swallowed the seeds, you're going to grow a watermelon in your guts
stomach.
now.
Yeah, no, that's very cruel. That is very cruel.
And shoelaces on an escalator.
Yeah,
that was my other irrational fear.
Yeah,
that
that's
I felt was
that's
going to be
valid.
a big problem in my life.
I
No,
still
it's
get
never-
quite worried about being stuck on escalators
Velcro.
regardless. And I don't like, I get nervous when I see people wearing thongs on
wide leg
escalators.
pants.
Yeah, that's a
Make me
worry
nervous.
too. They make me nervous. Or if they've got a little assistance dog, that just terrifies me. God, don't let the dog get eaten by the escalator. Well, it's time for the Hatch, Match or Dispatch Clue, a segment we do at the end of every show. Hatches, Matches and Dispatches. You know you love it. Everyone's morbidly attracted to hatches, matches, and dispatches. I think it gets more and more the urge, the desire to consume hatches, matches, and dispatches gets greater as you get older.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Yeah.
Do they still do it? They must still do it in the paper. That'd be the only reason they print the
Surely.
newspaper
Surely.
these days, isn't it? Just to
That-
let
it's-
everyone know what's going on.
People are like, what are you talking about? Births, deaths, and marriages.
Yes.
If you listen to the podcast for a while, you know exactly what we're talking about. A little clue that we're going to play now could be somebody who was born, died, married, had a birthday even just in general that we'll feature at the end of the show. They said this.
Is Paula on drugs or crazy or whatever, and she's just always been beautiful and sweet.
Is Paula on drugs or crazy? Do you want to hit one more time?
Is Paula on drugs or crazy or whatever, and she's just always been beautiful and sweet.
Always beautiful and sweet. We'll find out who that is at the end of the show. Over to the news, and on the 12th of June, French journalist Florence Aubenas and her Iraqi interpreter Hussein Hanan al-Sadi were finally freed after 5 terrifying months in captivity, ending one of the most high-profile hostage cases of the Iraq War era. Do you remember this?
I don't actually.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Glad we researched it. Yeah.
It was high profile.
Well, Aubenas was a reporter for Liberation. I think that's Liberation, perhaps, the
yes.
French publication. She'd flown to Baghdad in early 2005 to cover all the chaos that was happening on the ground there. And a few days later, on the 5th of January, she and al-Sadi had disappeared. I do remember this. I do vaguely remember the disappearance, but I mean, this was one among many stories.
I think the thing with this was, though, that there were no calls, there were no demands, there were no videos, no one was claiming responsibility. They just simply disappeared. Now, it was later revealed that they were kidnapped by armed men as part of an investigation into an alleged theft. The two were actually lured away from a refugee camp in Baghdad, as it was believed that her interpreter Hussein might have stolen some money. She later explained that armed men had shown up. They claimed he'd taken the cash, arrested them both, but they had really no idea why they were being held because they didn't steal anything. They were separated and held in confined dark spaces, minimal communication between the two. She was often blindfolded and referred to by her captors as Layla or Number 6. She later recounted being allowed only limited movement and speech during her captivity. She also said that the captor repeatedly expressed frustration, saying that she was a lousy hostage at one point, saying that, and that kind of suggested that they were expecting something tangible for it. But,
like a ransom or something.
But they hadn't made any demands, which made it even more strange.
They didn't do a video or anything. Didn't they have a video camera?
Maybe not.
Well, I mean, you know, it takes one to know one, mate. Like, I might be a lousy hostage. You're a pretty lousy captor.
Yes.
I mean, make light of it. The conditions that she was in were terrible. Terrible. And back in France, they had this huge public campaign to bring her home. There was posters. They had vigils. Her mother went on TV, on live TV, to plead for her release or to find her. And Florence Aubenas herself became this cry for freedom of the press, which was weird, I think, because we don't really know why she was kidnapped in the first place.
No.
And I don't think it had anything to do with her being a journalist. It was just wrong place, wrong time, perhaps.
And all of a sudden then they were released. And the details around that were also pretty murky. There was rumours that France had paid something like $10 million to secure the release.
Yeah.
But the officials in France said no ransom was paid.
That's right.
No group ever claimed responsibility. There was no clear motive. So we don't know why. And we don't really know the details of how they got released either.
It's weird.
Very mysterious.
It's a weird story. Yes. And I think there was the whole, it was very moving though when she was released. She was very grateful, and she wasn't in good shape either. She quite thin, malnourished. You know, she'd basically been kept in solitary the entire time. And so she thanked all the ordinary people around the world for keeping her name alive. And Al-Sadi was also released alongside her, but he didn't get as much fanfare because he was not white. That's what I think. I mean, he's just the interpreter. The interpreters get the worst end of the deal the entire time.
They do.
Whenever something bad's happening over there, it'd be like, just send the interpreter out there first to make sure it's okay. It's
they
like,
can go out and have a chat for me.
yeah,
No.
it's not a good job.
This was a very rare happy ending, though. We think about what had been going on in the years prior. It wasn't often that you ended up with a good outcome in these situations. So they were very lucky. It was a very rare happy ending. She later chronicled her ordeal in a book, turning trauma into testimony, reminding the world that journalism, particularly in conflict zones, is brave work with really high stakes.
Oh, it is. It is. It's very. They're mad. Really. Would you do it? I wouldn't do it. Do you want to go over there and tell us what's happening back here? No.
No, thanks.
That's right. I'm not interested. Well, I am interested. I mean, it's important to report these things. They are very brave people, but that's scary stuff.
Yeah.
This is also a little scary, I think. Unless you're a fan, I guess. This story about Michael Jackson, I remember this back in the day when he went to court and it was just a complete media circus. It was lunacy.
When a British documentary in February 2003 repeated old rumors about Jackson, it also wrung this admission from him.
The most loving thing to do is to share your bed with someone.
that the pop star shared his bedroom with children, innocently, he said, including boys like this young cancer survivor. But that was enough to trigger a criminal investigation by a district attorney who had pursued Jackson for a decade.
Get over here and get checked in.
It took almost a year, but Jackson was arrested. The core of a 10-count indictment that charged that on at least 4 occasions at his Neverland ranch, he had given alcohol to that cancer patient and then molested him. It was a difficult case. The boy and his siblings and mother all proved to be such credibility-challenged witnesses in the trial that most experts thought their testimony alone would not have led to a conviction.
Unless there's physical evidence, if this jury doesn't believe this boy, then there's no case.
Yeah, and there wasn't after all that, because on the 13th of June, Michael Jackson, 14 weeks the trial went on, more than 30 hours of jury deliberation. He was found not guilty on all charges in that child molestation case that everybody was watching at the time, which is probably why I didn't remember the story before, because this was happening at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
And this was just completely dominating the headlines.
Yeah, around the clock coverage, I remember. It was global. The reaction was intense. It was dubbed the trial of the century, and the media attention was unprecedented. You had the major networks, CBS, NBC, ABC, even VH1, even the music channels were filming at the ranch, outside the courtroom, interviewing all kinds of people. Lots of celebrities were having their say and saying what they thought. They had to even do some reenactments of the courtroom proceedings because cameras were actually prohibited in the courtroom.
I don't think that mattered, though. I think there was so much colour and movement outside
the fans
of the courtroom because the fans
they
were all
camped out there as well as at the ranch as well, I remember.
And then he'd show up and the cameras would go nuts, and it'd always be kooky because he'd do really weird things, and he looked very gaunt and not very well at the time. There apparently he came in at one stage in the pajamas, and he said that was because of back pain. Remember, he wore his PJs to court.
Yeah. I remember you know how they do the sketches?
Yeah.
I remember the sketch of him in the pajamas.
Yeah. And then but he never took the stand ever. And his family and stuff were there. So they had the testimony was one of the big key moments where the defense argued that it was inconsistent and financially motivated. And I think that's what really swung the jury. And then remember the Jesus juice?
Oh,
the
yes.
Jesus juice allegation that he served wine to minors disguised in soda cans that he called the Jesus juice.
Jesus juice. Macaulay Culkin.
That was the big. That was a huge appearance. That one.
And Macaulay denied any inappropriate behaviour from Michael during his childhood visits to Neverland.
He always has. He's always defended Michael Jackson.
Yeah, he has. Chris Tucker also testified.
He was good friends with him.
He testified that the family was exploiting Michael Jackson. And Jay Leno, I don't know that Jay Leno took to the stand. I think it was more commentary through his show, was expressing scepticism about the motives, noting their frequent attention-seeking antics.
Yes. Well, the defence team that he had, obviously best that money could buy, led by Thomas Mesereau, just smashed the prosecution's case. They painted a picture of a very flawed investigation, and those financial motives bubbled to the surface from the accuser's family. So the verdict gets read, and Jackson, very oddly, no emotion, doesn't really express himself at all, quite stone-faced, doesn't make a public statement, leaves the courthouse, doesn't speak to anyone, and he didn't even do like an I told you so or anything like that.
No.
Nothing.
No,
just kind of faded into the background, which was strange.
Sort of snuck off. But outside, obviously, fans, and I remember the footage of this very, very clearly, erupted in celebration. It was very dramatic, and what they released doves or something into the
What
air,
were they
and
do
they
to
were
the doves?
crying, and they were screaming.
The doves
what
were crying
happened?
because Prince would be really upset about that. I don't think he'd like that.
No, the fans were crying.
Yes.
The doves were flying. Very, very emotional. And yeah, I think this was one of the first times you really saw that really extended 24/7 coverage, because we started having the pay TV networks that would run 24/7.
Yeah.
And just seeing the way in which the media kind of clung to it and were just there all the time. The fans, the emotion, and it was such a, I guess, a controversial and difficult topic as well.
Yeah, well, especially the topic. But I think these days we've now got all of these instances of celebrities behaving badly and doing bad things that are coming to the surface, like R. Kelly and Diddy at the moment. That's happening, and people like Vince McMahon as well. I wonder. I don't know. I mean, Michael Jackson has always been one of those ones where I'm like, I just feel like where there's smoke, there's some kind of fire. I always have, and I know that the fans get really annoyed at that, and there's a lot of people that absolutely still adore him, and that was never more noticeable than when that not guilty verdict happened 20 years ago. But it's just peculiar.
It probably was the first really public kind of fall from grace, or at least accusations.
Yeah.
And now, like you say, you're seeing that happen more and more.
Well, I just think about money changing hands and non-disclosure agreements and things like that, and maybe they got wind of a story. I mean, it's all conspiracy theories. He was proven not guilty in a court of law, though. That's the end of that story in that regard. It was the end of a story for Australian peacekeeping troops over in East Timor as well on the 13th of June when they wrapped up their operation, their mission in East Timor, which was nearly 6 years of boots on the ground support for one of Asia's youngest nations. I remember this very well back in 1999 when they voted in East Timor for independence from Indonesia, and it didn't go well. Violence erupted pretty much straight away, and then Australia led the International Force East Timor, Interfet it was called, to stabilise the chaos, and it was a massive deal because it was our largest overseas military operation since Vietnam, and it was a very, I think, defining moment for our military as well.
Australia and Indonesia are very different countries, but we are thrown together by geography and history, and particularly recent history, and will be forever partners in this part of the world, and therefore there's an obligation on the part of the leaders of the countries, whoever they may be from time to time, to work hard on the relationship, and it's an important relationship for Australia. I think the best thing I can do as the leader of a country that is very friendly towards East Timor is to express the hope that the East Timorese resolve their own differences through their own democratic processes. Australia cannot maintain forces in East Timor indefinitely.
Yeah, so that was Prime Minister John Howard. I think that was a little later on. He was talking somewhere around 2006 about that. But with reference to, obviously, what was happening and our exit from East Timor on the 13th of June.
So, like you said, it started in 99. So in September 1999, that's when they first land over there, led by Major General Peter Cosgrove. Timor is burning quite literally, but the presence of foreign troops quickly starts to restore some order. In 2000s, the UN takes over and Australian troops transition to more of a support role, still heavily involved in security and training though. In 2002, East Timor officially becomes independent and our troops help secure the country's first presidential election. And then from 2004 to 2005, so till around now, things are stabilising. Australia is starting to down forces under Operation Spire and preparing to hand back full responsibility to local and UN authorities.
Yeah, that's not before over 17,000 Australians had served during that period.
That's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a lot. That's medics, engineers, soldiers, logistics people. And they did, like, it wasn't just security. Like, they were very involved in community building. And I'm talking, like, actual building, like building roads, rebuilding schools, and also building trust with the locals at East Timor. It was a very I don't think it was all sunshine and lollipops as well. You can dig a little bit further and do some research about some of the investigations that happened. I think Four Corners were involved in it with some of the conduct of some of the troops over there. Now, that put a bit of a shadow on it, but this was largely a very successful military operation.
Yeah. And then a very quiet exit as well.
Yeah. Over to sport now. And Mike Tyson, Iron Mike Tyson, announces his retirement from professional boxing after he loses to Kevin McBride in Washington, D.C.
Mike, first let's start with you. Did you want to continue?
Well, I would like to continue, but I saw that I was getting beat on. I realized I don't think I have it anymore because I got the ability to stay in shape, but I don't got the fighting guts, I don't think, anymore.
When did you recognize that? At what part of the fight?
I don't know. Early into the fight. I'm just sorry I let everybody down. I just don't have this in my heart anymore.
Did you feel as though you had it coming into the fight?
No, I'm just fighting to take care of my bills, basically. I don't have the stomach for this kind of no more. I'm more conscious of my children and those guys looking at my parents. I don't have that ferocity. I'm not an animal anymore.
Does that mean we won't see you fight again?
Yeah, that's most likely. I'm not going to fight again. I'm not going to disrespect the sport anymore by losing to this caliber of fighters.
Mike, a lot of people wonder what you'll do now with your life. Boxing has been your whole life.
Well, I'm sure I'll find something to do. Boxing doesn't define me. I'm just sorry to disappoint the people in this city. I know I didn't have it in my stomach no more, but I was in dire needs to take care of my life. I'm just being honest. I'm not taking nothing away from Kevin. I don't love this no more.
Yeah, he says I'm not taking nothing away from Kevin, but he also said something about if I can't beat fighters of this caliber, that it's, he's disrespecting the sport.
Imagine being the journalist that's asking him questions, because I don't think anyone was prepared for him to be retiring at this point. And you're just going over for the post-match. How you feeling, mate? You a bit flogged? And then he's gone, I'm not going to do it anymore. Imagine the pressure being that poor journo going, oh, crap. This is his retirement speech.
He is wildly unpredictable. He always has been.
He's a bit of a loose unit. This is the 11th of June, by the way. And so he's 38 years old at this stage, fighting Irish journeyman Kevin McBride.
Yeah, and by journeyman, I mean, he's a guy that's been around a lot. He's had probably as many losses as he has had wins,
Yeah.
He's not like, a great fighter, but he's not a terrible fighter.
He's not the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not coming last.
Exactly.
And Mike struggled to maintain his early aggression, and I think he led sort of early on, but waned as the fight progressed. Then in the 6th round, he was penalised 2 points for an intentional headbutt that caused a cut above McBride's eye. So he was still a little...
He's just frustrated, I think.
Still a little bit loose there.
He's getting frustrated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Technical knockout loss. And then, sitting on the stool, gets interviewed and is like, okay, see ya.
Yeah,
Peace out.
I just don't think he came out for the 7th round. That was the thing. He just sat on his stool and the bell went, and he just sat it out. He just never came back into the fight. So they gave it a TKO as a loss. Yeah, he was done. He just said he didn't have the guts for it. That was it. But I mean, what a career. Like you got to remember, he was the youngest heavyweight champion in history at 20 years old. And the aggression and the size of him at that age, at 20, was just a sight to behold. 91 seconds.
86 and then 88,
Yeah, 91 seconds, 1988. He just wiped the floor with Michael Spinks. It was amazing. I think it wasn't until, from 1986 to 1990, he was pretty much undefeated. Yeah.
And then he did get beaten by Buster Douglas, which kind of ended this view that he was invincible. And there's also the outside of the ring controversies that started to occur around this time as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was charged with rape in 1991. He was convicted and sentenced to 6 years in prison. He ended up serving 3. In 95, he comes back to boxing, wins by knockout in 95. 97, that's the ear biting.
That's the ear, yes, I remember that well.
Yeah, Evander Holyfield, a bit of a brain snap there. 1999, he gets jailed for assault after being involved in a traffic accident. 2003, he files for bankruptcy after earning over $300 million in his career, and obviously,
which is probably why he had come back for this fight.
And look, I think history has almost repeated itself again. Although he's a bit more of a brand now with Tyson, like he has definitely tried to reshape his career and his life.
He did have a bit of a rebrand, sort of coming into the 2010s. He obviously appeared in The Hangover.
Yeah.
in 2009 and didn't take himself too seriously. And I think he kind of endeared himself to people after that appearance.
Yeah, I think like that. Please don't think that. Not taking away from the rape allegation that looms like a black cloud over his career, but there's a lot of speculation around that as well. That it was kind of not all that met the eye, and there was a lot of people that came to Mike Tyson's defense at the time, like people like Ice Cube, for example. You know, he comes back from all of that, and then, like you said, he's in The Hangover in 2009, and that was hilarious. You know, the scene where he's playing the air drumming from In the Air Tonight. That was weird. It made me uncomfortable seeing Mike Tyson in that movie, to be honest with you.
He didn't endear himself to you? No,
not really.
So you wouldn't have gone to see his one-man show on Broadway called Undisputed Truth that came out, I think, a year or two later?
See, this is a thing. Like, that's not what I want to see Mike Tyson do. And if Mike Tyson's not going to do what Mike Tyson does or he's famous for doing anymore, I'm very happy for him to just live a very comfortable and peaceful retirement. I'm not going to go and see him in a one-man show. No.
He went into the cannabis business, becoming a legal weed mogul.
Yes.
2020, at age 54, he returns to the ring in an exhibition match against Roy Jones Jr. and looked very fit.
He did he win that? No, I think that was just a bit of a joke as well, though. I can remember people being annoyed about that fight because I don't know that it was sanctioned and it was an exhibition and they didn't really hit each other that hard, I don't think.
Well, then obviously last year.
Well, last year's one was just an absolute disaster.
Yes.
The Jake Paul fight.
I was hoping that he'd win that, actually. I was like, come on.
Well, I think everybody
Mike,
was.
Please.
Everybody was. If there was anyone
Knock
that could
some
make
sense into
you,
this upstart.
Yes, if there was anyone that could make you angry enough to come back and get the guts back for fighting, yes, that you want to see Mike Tyson hurt. And, you know, again, this is like... time heals wounds, absence makes the heart grow fonder, all of these things. You know, we'd created this fairy tale image of Mike Tyson by 2024.
And everyone's like, he's looking so fit. He's going to do it.
Yeah, and he did. He had some great training videos, but nobody knew what time those videos were filmed, like when they were filmed.
The match got postponed for a couple of months too because he had some ulcers or something,
he wasn't
didn't
he had a stomach ulcer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he wasn't in as good a shape anyway. You know what happened. Like, they just kind of gave up on that one as well. That was the equivalent of him sitting on the stool in the 6th round as well, I think. And, of course, Jake Paul won because of that. And then Tyson said that he wasn't going to retire, and then he called out Logan Paul at the end of that fight. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? This is ridiculous. You know what, mate? It's like, go stick to pigeons. Stick to pigeons. That's what you need to do.
Pigeons?
He's very fond of pigeons. He's spoken very fondly of pigeons. He's raised pigeons ever since he was a little boy.
Like the ones that come back to you that take notes to people.
It's a mad passion of his. Pigeons.
Pigeons. Wow.
Mike Tyson and his pigeons. I didn't think I would have thought you would have known this. I could see like some fantastic Hollywood movie happening
about his pigeons.
You know how you got animal movies like Air Bud or I don't know, like
Free Willy.
Yeah, something like that. This is the story of one man
and his pigeons
and his boxing career.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see it.
Yeah. Maybe he learns how, like he gets the movement, the foot skills from the pigeons. And he learns how to bob his head out of the way of the punches from the pigeons.
Flap his wings
You don't
a
want
bit.
to flap your wings. You'd leave yourself wide open. But yes.
18th of June, 2005. The internet's still shaking off that dial-up dust that we just heard so clearly there. But we had a tiny little startup in Brooklyn.
Were they even called startups in 2005?
Probably not.
But that's what
Just
they were.
Some guys with a big dream.
Yeah.
A big crafty dream.
AKA a startup. Yeah.
Stitching together a digital marketplace for makers, crafters, and the DIY obsessed. Etsy.
Oh.
Etsy is founded this time 20 years ago. Can you believe that?
Happy birthday, Etsy.
Did not think it had been around for that long. So it launched by Rob Kalin, Chris Maguire, and Haim Shopik.
Mm-hmm.
It was designed to be an online hub where artists and artisans could sell their handmade goods without having to beg for shelf space at local markets.
Or having to, deal with marquees. pitching marquees.
Oh God, aren't they the worst things to
Yes,
assemble?
fighting for
They're
marquee placement.
Always never get them straight. It's
Some
always
people
lopsided,
like,
my
you know,
marquees when I
get
put
a
them up.
marquee and it's not a good marquee.
There's always
or
a
then you-
dent in the post.
Well, then you start bringing your own marquee. Everyone's vying for a spot in
Isn't
the
that
hall.
a thing that dads used to
otherwise.
always yell at you about the tent pegs? Don't dent the tent peg. Don't
Yeah.
dent the tent pegs.
Because then they bend.
Yeah,
But
I feel like that always happened with marquees as well.
Cheap tent pegs. You got to go to BCF and get the quality tent pegs. Yeah,
That's
but
what we're doing
marquees are a big
Same.
deal.
And it's not that the makers didn't want to go online, but eBay, bit of a garage sale vibe. Doesn't really scream handmade.
But having
eBay.
to take all your wares to the markets all the time is a bit of a hassle as well. You got to load up the car with all the stock.
Oh, and then randos
Yeah,
trying to get a
there's
discount.
Chances are they could get damaged.
Kids
or
knocking it
stolen.
over.
Right. So
being
this
careless.
this is a great idea.
Touching things with their dirty hands.
Exactly. Don't need to worry about any of that.
No, Etsy. The first items for sale on Etsy, knitted scarves, indie jewellery, lots of things made from reclaimed wood. Still lots of things made from reclaimed
Dream
wood.
catchers.
Dream catchers for sure.
Lots of dream
Macrame,
catchers. Macrame. Yeah, I could see
crystals.
it. Crystals, yes.
Crystals.
Yes, of
Dolphins. There'd be a lot of dolphin paraphernalia.
Uh-huh.
I'm
Lots
thinking.
of crocheted stuff too, I reckon.
Yeah, and macrame. That's where I got our macrame
Crocheted.
from.
You did, see?
That was from Etsy. Yeah,
There you go.
I love Etsy. By 2007,
Yeah.
it had over 450,000 users.
Well, that's a lot of macrame.
And by 2012, handling over $895 million in annual sales.
That's a big market.
I
That's a
bought
big
so
craft
much
market.
baby stuff off Etsy
Did
with
you?
our son when I was pregnant with our son and
Yeah.
just after he was born. It's the
Yeah.
perfect place for baby stuff.
Yeah. Do you use like those crafty kind of markets to buy gifts for people? Are you like one of those people that just gets gifts from markets for people?
No, unless there's something that you want to get someone and you know that there is a maker at the market that sells that exact thing.
Yeah.
Markets to me are just sort of browsy. You just sort of walk through, and if I buy something, it's usually just something for me. Like,
So-
oh, I like that
and
bit
it's
of jewelry.
An impulse.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
that soap smells nice. I'll buy that.
I'll impulsively get that.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're doing a bit of a good deed because you're
Yeah.
supporting a local that's doing their thing.
Yeah.
But if you take that online, if you take that experience online, you kind of remove the intimacy from that. It's no longer local
But there's
anymore.
more choice. There's
You're
more
in a
choice
global
though, because
village.
then you have an idea of what you want and you can probably find it.
You've travelled down the information highway. You've taken a turn on the exit ramp towards a global village of art and
Crafters.
craft people.
Crafters.
An entire village of them.
Tea
globally.
cozies.
Oh,
Upcycled wedding dresses.
Yes.
Enamel pins. Lots of enamel pins.
Oh, yep.
Wall hangings. So the Vibe Craft Fair meets startup with a touch of Instagram aesthetic before Instagram was even really Instagram. Etsy goes public in 2015. People were worried about that. They thought, oh, it's going to lose its indie soul. It's going to lose the creativity,
I'd hate
darling.
to tell you, but as soon as something's on the internet, it doesn't have a soul anymore, I don't think.
But it did double down, and it actually made things better for the small businesses. There's a lot of support for the people that have their shops on Etsy.
Yeah, we're going to have to
Lots
take
of
our
good support.
soap-making operation global at this stage.
Yes, international. There's a mobile app, better tools for sellers while keeping the same kind of vibes. Although there has been controversy over the years of what is actually handmade versus not. But today it's the go-to for everything from custom gifts to vintage fashion, home decor, cottage core to the max.
I think our friend Karen should take her brownies over to Etsy.
I don't think can you sell food on Etsy?
Yeah.
I don't think you could sell
Surely
food.
you could figure out a way to mail those brownies.
I don't think so.
Because she does
I
the
don't know.
brownies at the markets, and they are the
They're
best,
the best.
brownies I've ever
But see,
ever
I go to the
had in
markets
my life.
just to get the brownies.
Yeah, and then her husband Wayne's involved as well. Shout out to Wayne who does the
soap.
soaps on the side.
Oh,
of
they're
it. It's
good.
good soap too.
Yeah.
Quality soap. And I do go to the markets when I know that Karen's there because I want to get some of those brownies.
Yes. See, again,
Yeah.
just buying things for yourself. It's not like you're going there to buy
Oh,
things
I
for
buy them
others.
for other people if I get the
No,
chance.
but then you eat them.
I don't really
I
want to
think you've
share.
ever given them
Not
to
those
anyone.
brownies. I
No.
don't want to share. I got some the other night. She gave me some brownies.
Yeah, and
which
you said that they were just yours and you didn't share
I
them.
didn't.
You
No.
didn't share them at all.
And she's going to hear this now. She's going to get angry at me.
Did she give them to you for us? I knew you were lying.
She might have.
You're a prick. Some interesting listings over the years, though.
Yes.
That there's amongst the dream catchers and the macrame and the upcycled wedding dresses.
Yeah.
There's a few interesting things.
Yeah.
Taxidermy rat phone case.
I love that. I'm down for that.
It was a taxidermied rat that was kind of sort of opened up to go
be
on
a
your phone.
case, yeah.
Taxidermy's quite big. There was also a taxidermy mouse dressed as the Pope.
Oh, right.
It's good. It's very realistic.
Pope.
The Pope outfit. It's very true.
Pope Mickey.
Very Pope-esque.
Yes. Papal, I think, is the word you're looking for.
Papal. A papal,
Very
yes.
papal.
It was. It was. Very, yes. A near-nude painted Shrek, kind of Renaissance style, lounging back with nothing on, but just a little towel draped over his modesty.
That's a bit weird.
Puppy poop toothpaste dispenser.
Oh, so I've seen a combination of that and the nude Shrek, because it's just Shrek poop toothpaste dispenser.
Same thing.
3D printing, and the miracle of 3D printing means that you can get all of those sort of things on Etsy now.
Like the glow-in-the-dark Terminator Buddha.
Because nothing says... I mean, just hedging your bets there, aren't you?
Yes, praying to the robot gods in the dark.
Yes.
There's a range of real human teeth. Lots of teeth.
So people are selling teeth on Etsy?
Teeth that are made into things. Have you seen the teddy bears with the human teeth?
I love those, the teddy bears with the human teeth sewed into them. They're
Jewellery.
wonderful.
There was a ring.
Yeah.
There was a ring that had 3 teeth, so it was a long ring.
Yeah.
And then it had 3 teeth, and the 3 teeth had braces.
Oh, that is gross.
It was like a ring, 3 teeth joined by the braces.
What if you're like cooking, you accidentally left it on, and you're like, oh, you got something stuck in your teeth? That'd be really gross. It's very strange. Do you know that I could not believe this? Uranium.
Okay, so maybe you can
So
sell
you're trying
brownies.
to sell uranium on Etsy. I don't know how long that listing was up for.
That
I
one
don't
might
know
have
if it
got
was
taken down.
The Libyans and I think Dr. Emmett Brown. Oh, no, that was plutonium. He needed plutonium, not uranium.
And Nicolas Cage everything.
Oh, yeah.
Etsy loves Nicolas Cage. There was the Pickleous Cage fridge magnet. So it had his face in a pickle.
Yes.
Fridge magnet. Nicolas Cage wooden spoons.
Yeah, I always get pushed ads for the Nicolas Cage throw pillow.
The throw pillow. I got the blanket.
I couldn't believe it.
The
I was like,
blanket was
what is
good.
this? And it's like Etsy thought that I'd like it, so it sent it to me.
Did you like it?
It was pretty cool. I wasn't going to buy it.
I bet you liked
I find
it.
that quite confronting if you just walked into a dark room and turned the light on and there's Nicolas Cage's face on it.
And he's in but it's also square shaped. So it's kind of
oh, my God.
odd shape.
Very
There's Nicolas Cage planter head. So you could put a plant, so it's like his hair growing out of the top. Lobster cage.
What's that?
It was a lobster with the Nicolas Cage head.
Right. I thought it was like for catching them or something.
No. And a Nyctopolis fidget toy.
Nyctopolis?
A nyctopus.
Oh, nyctopus.
A nyctopus,
What's
not a
nyctopus?
nyctopus.
Oh, I don't even
A
want to
nyctopus.
know. That's ridiculous.
It's an octopus with a Nicolas Cage head.
Yeah.
And the legs are like little fidgets, like
Right.
fidget spinner kind of thing. Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's a whole range.
Yes, well, very humble beginnings to look at them now.
Yeah.
Billions of dollars, all from the handmade, and with Nicolas Cage on the side.
Music. This week, 20 years ago, number 1 on the Australian charts was this one.
Don't funk with my heart. I wonder if I take you home. Would you still be in love, baby? In love, baby. I wonder if I take you home. Would you still be in love, baby? In love, baby.
Black Eyed Peas, Don't Funk With My Heart. Everyone's favourite Crazy Frog, still number 1 in the UK.
Ding, 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 ding. Go
crazy and get the Crazy Frog as a ringtone on your mobile now. For just £3, you can choose up to 5 ringtones a week from just 60p per tone. Check Frog 13 for the mono. Frog 4.
Grabbed the wrong fucking one.
The ringtone wasn't number 1. The song, Axel F, was number 1.
My bad.
Same thing. Same
Yeah,
shit.
Doesn't matter. Exactly.
Over in the US, have you got the top 5?
I do.
Oh, good.
No, don't funk with my heart. I wonder if I take you home. Would you still be in love, baby? Get
Southern style, get wild, old school's coming down in a different color. Whip. Picture perfect, you might want to take a flick.
All I really need is a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. We can head to the crib in a little bit. I can show you how I live in a little bit. I wanna unbutton your pants.
Oh, you got about 12 more weeks of Mariah Carey
12
belonging
more?
together at the top of the charts, yeah.
Oh, no, probably 11.
Oh,
I think that's
really?
about
You reckon it's
third week at
11?
number
All
one,
right.
I
Something
feel
like that. Well, she reigns supreme for a significant amount of time.
Number 1, Mariah. Number 2, Gwen Stefani, Holla Back Girl. 50 Cent, number 3, just a little bit. How's he doing? I think he's going to talk to Trump about something. I saw him say he's going to talk to Trump about something.
Viddy's going to talk to Trump.
I can't remember what it was about. I don't know. He's going to get in touch. He said something on his Instagram. Anyway.
It'd be like, it's a shame that you didn't die trying while you were getting rich.
No, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. He's sticking his nose into something. I can't remember what it was.
Fair enough.
It was interesting. Luda as Sierra
Oh,
at number 4.
yes.
And Don't Funk With My Heart. Back
Don't
up is
what?
Number 5. Don't Funk With My Heart.
Oh, sorry. As in, yeah, funk music.
That's the
with a
same.
PH.
I think that's the same.
It's pretty
Isn't it?
similar.
Or maybe,
it's
yeah, a
not too
couple that
different.
moved
There's a
around.
couple of things that have moved around,
Done a
and
switcheroo.
there's nothing much happening on the charts for a little while. But there is things happening. There is things. There are things.
We had some album releases. I think
Yes,
is what you're trying
I
to
can't
say.
speak. So you carry on.
Okay, let's start with Foo Fighters.
Ding 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 ding.
Sorry, I'm failing to start.
You got a glitch.
Yes, I did a little bit. What were we doing?
Foo
Albums.
Fighters
Yes.
released their album In Your Honor. It's a double album featuring both electric and acoustic tracks, the 5th studio album for the group and probably one of their most ambitious.
It was a very heartfelt album. It was it was very rocky and stuff, but I think it was a kind of Dave Grohl said that it was a bit of a thank you note to life after Nirvana, really, and surviving all of that. So it wasn't really just like another record for them. It was quite an event. You had one disc of all the rock stuff and then the softer acoustic folky almost stuff. And they recorded it at their new studio, 606 West, which he said was his own version of Abbey Road. And how about this? John Paul Jones from Led Zeppelin plays piano on it. Did you know that?
No.
On his acoustic track, Miracle. Yes, so that was very exciting for Dave Grohl. Nora Jones is on there on a track called
that's
Virginia
pretty big.
Moon. And, he initially wrote it as something that was going to be a single one, but they just had so much stuff alongside all the heavy ones, he decided to kind of split it up, which I thought was cool.
It's like what Nelly did with Sweat and Suit.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly the same.
But it is. It is kind of the same. It's just, I don't know, maybe.
Not Nelly.
And they still did it as one album. They didn't give it 2 titles. What was the title called again? In Your Honor. Yeah.
Yes.
Not really Sweat and Suit. It's a little bit more,
Well, I think Dave referred to the album, it was like having a long dinner party where one half of the guests are drunk punks and the other half are sipping tea.
Oh, right. Well, obviously the drunk punks are the rock side. Well, it had some big songs. I mean, none I don't think have been bigger than this for the Foo Fighters.
That's a good song.
They write very good songs, very good pop rock anthems, I think. They're very capable. If you move over to pop, though, Mel.
We had a big comeback. A big return.
All right.
Return of the Max.
I didn't even realise they'd gone away.
Backstreet's back. All right.
Yes.
5th studio album, Never Gone. Well, it was a 5-year hiatus.
5 years is a long time for a pop band not to put anything out.
And when you're looking at, there was a lot that had split up in that time. So NSYNC, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, that was news to the rest of the band, as we know. It was just Justin leaving. But NSYNC had disappeared. 5 had split up at that stage as well.
5 would be a second tier kind of boy band, though. They wouldn't be up there with.
How very dare
I'm just
you.
thinking if there's a
Excuse me.
pecking order, and there would be a pecking order.
Wow.
Like these guys would be, the Backstreet Boys would have to be right up the top of that pecking order.
They were probably one of the biggest.
Yes.
98 Degrees, I think, had split by then with Nick Lachey.
Where would they be in the
Stay out of
pecking
it.
order?
Nick Lachey, they're below
They'd be
5.
under 5. They'd be
Way
like
below.
third tier.
Yes.
Yeah, 98 Degrees.
I think they had one song.
Did they?
Westlife.
Westlife.
They'd split up.
Maybe
hadn't they?
second tier, wouldn't they? You know.
And was that the one with Brian with an I and Y? Yeah, they'd split up. We're all splitting up. But Backstreet Boys didn't. They came back.
They stuck around.
Never gone.
Never gone. Just disappeared for 5 years, but never gone really. Well, you were gone for 5 years.
All
so
5 OG members were back.
Backstreet can't come back.
All right.
If it's not gone. They have to be gone in order to bring Backstreet back.
All right.
All right.
There's a bit of a
Glad we
rebrand.
agree.
They'd moved on from the white shirts and bubblegum beats and the windswept hair and more mature adult contemporary. They had some guitars and some mid-tempo ballads, bit of a soft rock glow up.
Oh, very soft rock. It was like, you close your eyes, this could be Bryan Adams. Oh, my God. And then they're just going to wrap it up with that big piano there. That is
that power.
Humongous. Big arena. That's arena rock.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, that was.
It's barely, but it's still going on the piano. That's enough.
It's a nice piano.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Lead
Backstreet
single.
Boys are incomplete. Yes.
Moody power ballad. Cracked the Billboard Top 20. Spoiler alert, I think we'll be talking about it next week in the charts. It was produced, the album, by Max Martin, who was the guy behind Baby One More Time.
Yeah.
And Dan Muckler. I have no idea who Dan Muckler is.
It's an unfortunate surname.
Muckler. Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. It almost sounds like a Greek swear word. You muckler.
Never Gone, the title of the album, was actually a tribute to Kevin's late father, which added a bit of an emotional layer to the project.
Right.
Mixed reviews, but still went platinum. Sold over 3 million copies worldwide, which wasn't too bad because everyone thought they'd split up, so that's all right.
Yeah, they'd written them off as some dinosaurs from the 90s.
I think it was a bit mixed because, people did like the Backstreet's Back all right, Larger Than Life. That kind of
that era.
dancey
and now they're
boy band pop that they were known for.
Very rocky.
Yeah.
Very rocky. Very like Aerosmith when they went through the power ballad kind of years. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it had, I don't recall, I didn't have this album, but I don't recall it having any of those big dance to nightclub kind of tunes on it, which I think left a lot of fans a bit upset.
That particular song, I mean, I haven't seen the video, but it lends itself to like helicopters standing on mountaintops, circling around them. This is before drones, so it would have been quite expensive and very life endangering for the Backstreet Boys to be circled around by low-flying helicopters.
Lots of power fists, like reaching out.
Yeah. Reaching to the sky and pulling things back in and then, releasing back into the wild.
Maybe some doves.
Maybe some doves. Yeah, they're
definitely
crying this week, aren't they?
And we had some big news.
Because the doves are just distraught over this as well. Destiny's Child, gone. They're disbanding. They've disbanded upon completion of their world tour, according to them, and they held a little thing and told everyone all about it on MTV or something.
We don't like the word breakup. It sounds really sad. we like to say that it's the end of a chapter in our lives. And it's been 14 years. And everything cannot last forever. Destiny Fulfilled is the title of the album. It's not a coincidence. This was something that we thought about, and it was really important for us to end this chapter when we were successful still, and not because one person wants to go solo, or not because we don't like each other, or because we're not selling records anymore, but because it has to end at a certain point, and we all have different personal things we want to do and things with our careers that we want to do. But it's really important that we maintain our friendship and we still support each other. And that's something that's going to happen because this is real and we really are truly friends. It's beyond the music.
For God's sakes.
I don't hear a lot of the other two talking.
I was going to say that was Beyonce doing all the talking. All the talking. Setting the record straight.
Oh, so intentional.
Writing
Still
her own
friends.
history there.
Not because we want to go solo.
Not because we hate each other, except
No.
during that, I think it was Michelle Williams. You could hear her in the background.
You could hear her eyes rolling.
She didn't say not because. I think there's code in the subtext. She said, we hate each other. So what you could do is you could go back and watch that interview in full and just write down the bits that Michelle says, and you'll probably be able to decode
it.
the actual reason why they're splitting up. And I think it all goes down to that one line where it's, we hate each other. It's just a conspiracy theory. It might not be true, but you heard it here first.
I
Either
think
way.
they did hate each other, but they're
Yeah.
like, let's not let everyone know. So we'll all release a solo album, so it looks like we're still friends and we're supporting each other.
Yeah.
We'll do one more tour, lots of money, and we'll pretend that we like each other, and then we'll split up. We'll call it Destiny's Fulfilled, and we'll say that this was intentional. This is what we were going to do.
For that kind of money, I could pretend to like so many people. So many people.
I think Beyonce was, she's gone solo with the album Dangerously in Love. It went gangbusters
Well, the
in
other two
2004.
are holding her back at this stage, aren't they?
I think it was a
She
Beyonce
wants to be
decision.
Foxy Cleopatra.
I think it was a
She
Beyonce
wants to do whatever she wants to do. What's the
all her solo stuff.
Yeah, and look at it. 20 years later, it culminates in a country and western album.
Didn't see that coming. Obviously they started in the late 90s. There had been a lot of lineup changes. There was originally 4 of them.
Yes.
That was it Latavia and Latoya?
I don't know, but they've all
There was
dished
Latoya and
at various stages.
Latavia. Then there was somebody else, and then it became Beyonce, Kelly and Michelle.
Right.
And they're the ones that we all remember. They sold over 60 million records, won lots of Grammys, and basically set the standard for modern girl groups.
Yeah.
Said there was no drama, no tears, just love.
Yeah.
According to Beyonce.
Until you decode it, until you get like all Dan Brown, Robert Langdon, Da Vinci Code, and use Michelle Williams as the codex to decipher what actually happened. Who knows what actually happened? All of these things are coming out like 20 years later. Maybe we'll find some wild and crazy conspiracy theory as to why. Anyway, I don't know. We might not either. We're going to the movies anyway. We're going to escape from that.
Oh, well, it was a movie that had a wild conspiracy theory that turned out to be true.
That's
this one,
right.
Very controversy.
Yes.
They are the world's most deadly assassins. Their identities are a secret, even from each other.
So how's work?
We had a little trouble with the commission.
So how's Atlanta?
Are you looking for a job or something? You are the job. Had a few problems ourselves. Did you do something new?
I added peas.
Ah, peas. I love my wife, but there are times.
There's this huge space between us, and it just keeps filling up with everything that we don't say to each other.
What do you think she learned to shoot like that?
Looks like it's government or something.
You've just been identified by a competing agent. How are you going to handle it?
I'm gonna borrow this.
Yeah.
Sweetheart.
Love gets lethal.
You have an unusual problem, Jane. You obviously want me dead. And I'm less and less concerned for your well-being. So what do we do?
Oh, God. What do? We all go and watch Brad and Angelina in Mrs. and Mrs. Now, that's a different kind of movie that I'd probably get down to. Of course not. Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yes. Number 1 in the US box office this time 20 years ago. And, of course, that was the foundation for the conspiracy theories as to the romance blossoming between Brad and Angelina, was it not?
It's an outwardly dull suburban couple who discover they're both secret assassins, hired to kill each other.
Yes, I mean...
Crazy.
It was only a
Can you
matter of
believe
time,
it?
you know. What do you mean you're a
Explosive
spy? I'm a
stunts.
spy. Oh, and now we've got to kill each other? Who would have thought?
Witty
Who
one-liners.
comes up with this shit, honestly?
Sexual tension.
Yeah, so much sexual tension.
But
you
yes.
cut it with a... Oh, I don't want to cut anything sexually tense.
I do wonder if the theories around Brad and Angelina, if that didn't happen, would it have become number one? Because there was a lot of hype. Because obviously Brad's split with Jen. There was all the rumours. It was all over, Entertainment Tonight.
I mean, the premise is ridiculous, but it was like it's billed as an action comedy, so we can get that. But the thing is Brad's still married to Jennifer Aniston when the film is being made. Well, when the filming began, I should say.
Yes, I think they split.
But by the time it had finished...
Yes, I think
there was all this chemistry and rumours between Brad and Angelina.
Yes. Late night reshoots, private conversations, on-set sparks that were very hot.
Yeah.
They obviously denied any affair during filming, but their friendship soon turned official pretty soon after he'd split from Jen. Within a year, they were a couple.
And there we go, Brangelina. The rest is history. Yeah.
This one earned over $478 million globally, proving that we did like a little scandal.
It didn't even review that well, and it was a pretty movie. To be honest with you,
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's garbage. It's terrible. I hated it.
You didn't enjoy it?
No, I couldn't stand it. I was like, this is stupid. This is just stupid. I don't mind it if it's stupid but this is like these two massive actors. The whole thing was just built on hype. I wouldn't even be surprised if it was like the affair that they had was part of the hype for I don't know. Just, it was stupid. The whole thing is stupid. And what have we got at the end? It's some lady by the name of Poor Jen on the outer. Once again, I don't think she cared either.
No, I don't think she did. But the stupid movie was also number one here in Australia this week, 20 years ago.
Great. Excellent. Do you know what else happened? Just a very quick one in movie news, because I don't really have any grabs or any sort of produced bits for that. Leonardo DiCaprio on the 17th of June in 2005. I'm not sure if you remember this or not, but he got hit in the head with a beer bottle. He had a beer bottle chucked at his head while he was at a party that was hosted. See, everyone thinks Leo DiCaprio is this great guy and all of that sort of stuff. He hangs around with some pretty shitty people. He was at a party hosted by Rick Solomon.
Oh, the Rick Solomon from the Paris tape, later married to Shannon Doherty. The
girl's gone wild, dude. That guy. Poor old Leo, 17 stitches.
Well, that's what you get for going to a Rick Solomon party. You've got no one to blame but yourself.
17 stitches to his face and neck. Yeah, he mangled the
That's
DiCaprio.
Pretty bad when you're an actor that's known for your hunky good looks.
Yeah, it's not good. To his face, face and his neck after a woman who'd been asked to leave the party threw the bottle at him.
Wow.
Yes, the lady's name was Aretha Wilson. She was a former Canadian model who had, I think she's still Canadian.
I was going to say, so she's not Canadian anymore.
She's not a Canadian model anymore, yes. Had been asked to leave the party multiple times, and she thought that DiCaprio might have been a former boyfriend, and so
you wish,
she
Aretha.
glassed him. She basically glassed him. Yeah, and then she fled. She fled to Canada. She actually
so she's not former.
She got across the border.
Currently Canadian.
I'm back in Canada now. It took 5 years to catch her. 5 years, and then she got extradited to the US in 2010, where she was brought to justice to atone for her sins for messing up the merchandise on old Leo DiCaprio's
I wonder
mug.
if he's got scars.
Well, maybe, but she only did like 6 months. She did 6 months. I think she was sentenced to 2 years in prison, but due to time already served and good behaviour, she did 6 months and then got deported back to Canada anyway.
It was an honest mistake.
Yes, well, and it didn't hamper his career. Which is good.
Yes, thank goodness. We have a new number one on the New York Times bestseller list this time 20 years ago, but we're going to the non-fiction section of the library.
Oh, really?
Non-fiction, which means true story.
True. So is it is it a cookbook? It's historical. Is it historical?
It's not a textbook, but it's pretty close. 1776, which it's about the Declaration of Independence, I believe.
Okay, so we need something like kind of something like 4th of July.
That does feel like you're declaring something very good.
Yes. In his masterful book, David McCulloch tells the intensely human story of those who marched with General George Washington in the year of the Declaration of Independence. when the whole American cause was riding on their success, without which all hope for independence would have been dashed, and the noble ideals of the Declaration would have amounted to little more than words on paper. Well, I was nearly dashed then, but I recovered.
Take a breath. We've got a full stop.
Based on extensive research in both American and British archives, 1776 is a powerful drama written with the extraordinary narrative vitality. I screwed that one up a bit, but that's okay. It is the story of Americans in the ranks, men of every shape, size and colour, farmers, school teachers, shoemakers, no accounts, and mere boys turned to soldiers. And it is the story of the King's men, the British commander William Howe, and his highly disciplined redcoats who looked on their rebel foes with contempt and fought with a valour too little known. I can feel that in my cockles.
Yeah.
Stirring.
Thank you. That was emotional.
Welcome. Yeah, it's okay. I'll give myself about a 3 out of 5.
Nikki, 1 star.
Oh, Nikki only gave it 1 star, though. Why?
This is the 3rd most boring book I've ever read.
Wow.
The 3rd. I want to know what 1 and 2
What
are.
are 1 and 2?
I don't know.
Nikki.
She didn't disclose.
She needs to put out a
It's the
listicle.
3rd.
Nikki,
Yeah.
1 star's top 10 boring books that she's ever read. At least we know what the 3rd one is. Jerometed. Jerometed?
I wonder if his name's Jerome and he's just put meted on there because it's like he's
Trying
measuring,
to measure something?
measuring his interest
Well,
in
he's
books.
measuring 1 star for this book. He says, not nearly enough pictures to hold my interest.
Well, it was 1776. I don't think there was cameras then, was there?
I don't think so. Maybe
No.
Box Brown. I don't even think
I
the
don't
Box
know.
Brownie had been invented.
Maybe an artist's impression or two, but it's probably
like
hard
a
to find them.
courtroom reporter style
yeah,
thing.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Something to that.
Get over
effect.
yourself, Jerome.
Exactly. Take it easy, mate.
Non ever.
Non
1
ever.
star. Non ever. Not ever. Non ever.
I think it's no never.
No never?
Yeah.
Oh, 2
Yeah.
words.
No,
No,
never.
never. I thought it was non ever.
Well, it's 1 word mashed together, but you said non ever, which is 2 words too. But I'm saying no never.
No, never.
No, never.
1 star. My friend described it like eating a brick.
That's definitely no never. Definitely. Kristen, 2 stars. The colonial army was so ratchet. I don't know what that means.
Ratchet, isn't it like ghetto?
So ratchet.
Isn't that in
Those
like
colonials were
you know,
so ratchet.
The person that sings WAP,
Yeah.
WAP, W-A-P.
Megan Thee Stallion.
Thee Stallion. Doesn't she have a song where it's something bougie and ratchet or something?
I guess.
I think it's like
that.
skanky,
Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
Well, that's what the colonial army were.
ratchet.
Yeah.
It's
Grab
exactly
a
what I
bucket and a
thought too.
mop because that colonial army was so ratchet.
John Bochetta, 1 star. I would Wikipedia the Revolutionary War if that is your thing. You can get the highlights without losing consciousness 9 times.
He fell asleep reading it.
9 times.
Yes.
John Bochetta.
Robert Pulowski, 2 stars. I recommend this book for anyone who would find a dictionary entertaining. This is Robert Pulowski, 2 stars, signing off.
How many times did you lose consciousness, Robert Pulaski?
I didn't. I was entertained by the dictionary, so I really like this book, but I'm only giving it 2 stars. Because the dictionary was more entertaining.
Jason, 2 stars. It was like waiting for your grape nuts to soften up in the milk. It's a grape nut.
And how does it soften in milk?
Is it cereal?
I don't know. I'm Googling that and trying it straight after this. I recommend this podcast for anyone who would find a weather report entertaining.
While you're waiting for your grape nuts to soften up in the milk.
That's right. You soften
listen
your
listen to this while your grape nuts are softening.
Soften your grape nuts up to this. Doing the hatches.
Oh, so soft
The
right
hatches,
now.
matches, and dispatches. This will soften your grape nuts or somebody's grape nuts. We got a match. We got a wedding.
Oh, we do.
We got a wedding. A celebrity who was getting married this time 20 years ago that said this.
Is Paula on drugs or crazy or whatever? And she's just always been beautiful and sweet.
Is Paula on drugs or crazy? That sounds like somebody from American Idol. If you said Bo Bice. would
So
be correct.
wasn't talking about his lovely bride-to-be
No,
being
I was talking
crazy
about
and on drugs.
Paula Abdul on the panel.
Oh, that
It
makes
gave you a bit of a
sense.
bum steer
You
there.
did. You did.
Yes, Bo Bice married his wife Caroline Fisher in Helena, Alabama.
He was the runner-up. We heard about him a few weeks ago when Carrie Underwood, she won. He came second. On season 4, he married Caroline on the 15th of June. They met before he was famous.
Yes.
So she didn't just latch onto him after he was on Idol.
Yes, it's very living on a prayer, this kind of story.
He was working as a guitar store clerk and she
Yes.
was a waitress in a ragtime cafe in Hoover, Alabama. Small, intimate ceremony was the wedding. Close
Yes.
friends and family only.
Yeah, and this was at a time where things were going off for Bo. He just finished American Idol, and he's getting married like a few weeks later.
Got a record deal.
Yeah.
Had his debut single. Even when you come second, you still get a number one single.
Yeah.
Basically, don't you?
And look, I think they're still going strong. They've since had 4 kids: Caleb, Aiden, Michael. Whatever. You don't need to name his kids. That's just creepy and weird. I don't give a shit about his kids. Anyway, he did write a song about his wife, though. Maybe you can write a song about his kids and call it that. But this one's called My Caroline, which is his wife.
My Caroline, it's not the time she looks a mess. 'Cause that's a smile I love best.
And that's all I can find of that, is him just playing it in some speakeasy bar. There's like videos of him performing it live, but I don't know that it's actually been recorded and released. I'm not sure.
That's an easy song to have
Not-
rhymes to. Caroline,
Yeah.
sign,
Yeah.
time, fine.
Yeah. Outcast did it too. Caroline.
Ba, ba, ba.
But like
There's
Sweet
lots
Caroline.
of Caroline songs, isn't there?
There is lots of Carolines. I'm not a fan. I just needed something for this part
To
of the
play
segment.
something.
So we've done that. We've achieved that, which
Okay.
means that we've achieved the show for this week. Which is
Well done.
yeah, yay us! Round of applause
Congratulations.
us. All right. Well, now let's just give us one of those as well. Excellent. We prepared for next week? No, we actually are. We've got plenty of stuff. What's
We
happening
are.
next week?
Reddit
Yes.
is invented. Can't believe that's 20 years old. Oh my
Reddit is
God.
20.
There's a Grand Prix. There was a very controversial Grand
This was
Prix.
one of the weirdest Grand Prix races of all time.
The NBA, the basketballs.
Oh, a lot of sport
finals
there.
time. And Tupac versus Biggie Smalls. There was
Really?
a development in the
A
Park
development
v.
in the
Biggie.
Park Biggie case.
Yes.
That is so much to look forward to, and probably a little bit more. You know where to find us on the socials during the week. You can ask questions. We can give you hints as to what else is happening in the show as we prepare it, as we craft it into the masterpiece that we then lay before you. So if you enjoyed this week's Blast from the Past, don't just vibe on it. Subscribe it.
Don't vibe, subscribe.
Oh, is that what I see? I'm
It's
so
got a rhyme.
fucking old. You wrote this to set
You're so
me up. You
ratchet.
set me up. You're
So
like, do
ratchet.
this, read that. Leave a review. You can leave a review. You definitely do that. Make sure it's
Yes.
a positive one. Don't be like, oh, that stupid has-been doesn't even know the difference between vibing and subscribing and what's ratchet, or he's got no riz.
He's so ratchet.
Yeah. You can but tell your friends, and then you can follow us on the socials as well. T-20 podcast.
Maybe
is
tell us
you
what
need to
grape
search
nuts
for.
are.
Grape,
Someone could
grape nuts.
leave us a message of what a grape
that
nut
is
is.
really
I
odd.
don't want to Google it. I'm nervous.
Really odd. Anyway,
Yes.
we'll keep feeding you nostalgia habit as long as you keep having us.
Yes.
It's like we're doing a little mixtape for you each and every week.
Yes. Yeah.
This is us, T-20. We're not gone. We're never gone. Backstreet style.
All right.
See you next week.
Thanks for taking the time to rewind. Join us next time for another week that was 20 years ago. In the meantime, come and reminisce on the socials. Search for T-20 Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.